Let's knock this out. I got all the odd ones, so let's begin. It says write in self proportions to answer the questions. 30% of what number is 9? That means I'm going to put my 30% up on top. I'm going to put my 100 on the bottom. And remember, is means this is the top number over here. That means I'm looking for my of. When I take this and put it into an equation, it's going to be 9 times 100 is going to be equal to 30x. I know 9 times 100 is 900. Then I have to divide 30 away so I can get x by itself. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. I know 900 divided by 30 is going to be 30. So x is 30. All right, let's see. On number 3, it says what percent of 36, that means 36 is going to go on the bottom, is 20. My is goes on top. And that's going to be equal to my percent, which is always over 100%. This is going to give me 20 times 100. And I know 20 times 100 is 2,000. So I'm going to skip a step and just put 2,000 here. That's going to equal 36 times x. Now I got to get x by itself. I'm going to divide 36x by 36. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. I got to figure out what is 2,000 divided by 36. I think I'm going to get my calculator, help me out a little bit here. And 2,000 divided by 36 is equal to 55.5 repeating. So my percent up here is going to be equal to 55.5 repeating. All right. And let's not forget to put the percent sign here. All right, now we're going to number 5. Find the distance between the two numbers on the number line. This is a -4, there's a 10. If I'm making a number line out of this, I realize that when I put this through 0, -4 is going to be over here, and 10 is going to be over here. So I'm going to have to actually add these two together. Okay, so 4 plus 10 is going to be 14. The distance between them is 14. Number 7 says I got -5 2/5 and -1 1/3. Okay, it says find the distance between these two. Well, when I find the distance, both of these are going to be on the same side as the number line, because if I have my line here, and if this was 0, this is going to be somewhere around -1 3/10. And this is going to be somewhere over here, -5 2/5. That means I'm going to be subtracting 1 3/10 from 5 2/5. I need to get a common denominator, though. I'm thinking that common denominator is going to be 10. So I have to multiply 5 to 2 and multiply 2 to 2 in order to turn this into a fraction that's equal, that gives me a denominator of 10. This is going to give me a denominator of 10 and a numerator of 4. So now what I have to take is -5 4/10. And I'm going to minus, let's see, I'm going to actually this is going to be a positive, right? Well, I'm taking this and minusing this from it. So, yeah, I can get rid of this. And this is going to be minusing 1 3/10. And when I take my fractions, 4 minus 3, uh, some people think it's a lot easier to do it this way, 5 4/10. And for all intents and purposes and visual aids, I'm going to do that. Minus 1 3/10. We see that we're going to take 4 minus 3, that's going to give us 1/10, right? And then 5 minus 1, that's going to give us 4. So 4 1/10 is my answer, 4 1/10. Okay, let's go to number 9. There are 160 people in a grade, in a grade, excuse me. Wow, I said grade. 160 people in a grade. The ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 5. That means boys is 3 and girls is 5. Write a proportion you can use to find the number of boys, okay? The number of boys is going to be 3, and then I have to add everybody. 3 and 5 is 8, right? So the proportion you can use to find the number of boys is 3 to 8. 3/8 are going to be boys. Now let's finish it off. We know that 3/8 are going to be boys, but remember they said there are 160 people in the grade. That's total. So I'm going to put 160 down here because that's the total amount in the grade. And we're putting that equal to x over this. We're wanting to find out how many are going to be boys out of that 160. We cross multiply, we're going to take 3 times 160. I'm just going to use the highlighter to highlight this up for us. 3 times 160 is going to be equal to 3 times x. So let's go ahead and write that out. We got 3 times 160 will be equal to 8 times x. Well, 3 times 160, let's use our calculator for that, make sure we get the right answer. 3 times 160 equals 480. And that's going to be equal to 8x. Now I got to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide 8 away. Now it's starting to get really easy because I know that 6 times 8 is 48. So 60 times 8 must be 480. So this is going to be 60. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. That leaves me with 1x left over. So the number of boys is going to be 60 boys. Okay? 60 boys. All right, next we're going down here and it says, using percent equation, the circle graph shows the number of votes received by each candidate during a school election. Find the percent of students who voted for the indicated candidate. Well, you have 10 and 12. I have number 11. It says candidate B. Candidate B got 60 votes. And that's going to be 60 out of how much? Well, we have to add up all these to find out. Let's see. If I take 36 and add it to 54, 6 plus 4 is 0. And carry the 1, that's going to be 8, 9. So that's 90 right there. And 90 plus 60 is 150. All right, in case you didn't catch that, I'm adding up all these, 36, 54, and 60 to find out how many total people voted. And if we do this, we see that we got a 0 here, 6 and 4 is 10. And then that's 1 and 3 is 4, 4 plus 5 is 9, 9 plus 6, that's 150. Right, that's where we got that from. So now that I know this is 60 out of 150 votes, they said, what is the percent, right? So I can find the decimal by taking the calculator and taking 60 and dividing it by 150. And that gives me 0.4. And now I have to realize that they asked for find the percent. So I have to move that decimal over 2 spaces and put a 0 there. So this is going to be equal to 40%. All right, let's go ahead and look number 13. Write and solve an equation, answer the question. When I do this, I see that I got 20% of 150 is what number? Well, remember that percent equation is the amount equals the percent times the whole. So 20% has got to be the percent. I'm going to move that decimal over so it becomes 0.2, right? It says of 150. 150 is the whole. So I'm thinking this is going to be A is equal to 0.2 times 150. Okay, is what number? So that tells you right there the is would be this number here. When I do this, let's see, I'm going to get 150 times 0.2. Let's see, 150 times 0.2, that's going to equal 30. So this is going to equal 30. Let's go to number 15. It says 35% of what number is 35? The is given 35. So 35 equals, remember 35 over here will be moved back twice to give me a decimal that I can use in an equation. And I'm multiplying this to the whole number. Well, that means I can divide this side by 0.35, which means I have to divide this side by 0.35. Now remember, this isn't 35 divided by 35. 35 divided by 0.35. When I move this decimal over twice, it adds 2 zeros to this. So normally 35 divided by 35 would be 1. But I'm figuring if we got 2 more zeros there, it's probably going to be more like a 100. All right, let's go to number 17 now. It says 29 is what percent of 20? So of 20 tells me that 20 is going to be the whole. 29 is, so that's going to be 29. It's going to be over here as my amount, and that means they're looking for the percent. So I can put the percent over here. When I do this, I know something times 20 will give me this. I'm going to have to divide 20 away to get P by itself, which means I'll divide it away over here. I could have to see what is 29 divided by 20. Let's see. Well, 29 divided by 20, it's going to give me 1.45. So that means P is 1.45. To find out what percent it is, I'm going to have to go ahead and move that decimal twice. That's going to be 145%. All right. Number 19 says, what percent of 300 is 51? The of is 300, so that's going to be the whole. The is the 51. So we're looking for the percent. Once again, I'm going to divide 300 away, which means I'll divide 51 by 300. I'm going to take 51 divided by 300, and that gives me 0.17. So my percent equals 0.17. If I write it as a percent with a percent sign, it will be 17% when I move the decimal. But P is 0.17, just like over here, it was 1.45. Let's go to number 21 now. 21 says, what number is 35% of 20? It says your friend uses percent equation to answer the question, is your friend correct? He said, what number is 35%? Well, he moved the decimal over twice. He did the right thing there. Of 20, that is the whole number. And he said that 0.35 times 20 would give him 7. Let's see if that's correct. Well, 0.35 times 20 does equal 7. So your friend did this correct. Yes, he did it correct. And there really is no explanation to this because he did it the right way. This next one says a salesperson receives a 2.5% commission on sales. What commission does a salesperson receive on $8,000 in sales? Well, uh, this is the whole amount. Remember, he's getting a commission, which is part of that, right? So that's going to be the amount that he gets, and that's going to be equal to 2.5% times 8,000. Well, to use this 2.5%, I'm going to have to move it over twice, which will turn to 0.025. And that'll be times 8,000. That'll give him the amount. Let's see what that is. If I take 8,000 and multiply it to 0.025, that's going to give me $200. So you should get $200 for his sales. Let's see, we're going on to number 25. Let's see, yes, 25 here. It says the sales tax on the model rocket shown is $1.92. What is the percent of sales tax? Okay, it says shown, so I'm going to have to find a picture of that rocket and bring it over. Please hold on. All right, I see that the rocket here is actually $24. So the sales tax on the model rocket shown is $1.92, which means we got 1.92 was the amount that we're paying on the tax. That's going to be equal to whatever the percent was times $24. To solve this, I'll simply divide. I'll divide 24 away from P. Whatever I divide from one side, I got to divide from the other side. I have 1.92 divided by 24. 1.92 divided by 24 equals 0.08. And so when we return this to a percent, remember we got to move this decimal over twice, which is going to make this 8% tax. All right, that was number 25. We're going to scroll on down here to number 27. It says, there were N signers of the Declaration of Independence. The youngest was Edward Rutledge, who was X years old. All right. The oldest was Benjamin Franklin, who was Y years old. For number 27, it says X is 25% of 104. What was Rutledge's age? Well, 25% tells me I'm using 0.25 in my equation, because I moved the decimal back twice. Of tells me that I'm going to be multiplying this to 104, because the of is the whole. So I'm looking for the age, which is going to be my A here. So I'm going to take 0.25 and multiply it to 104. Let's see how that works out. I get 104 times 0.25, and that means the man's age was 26 years old. All right, so 26 years old should be Rutledge's age. Years old. All right, let's go ahead and do number 29 now. It says N is 80% of Y. How many signers were there? Okay. We're going to have to look at this a little more carefully because I feel like it's leaving out some information, unless we're talking about N is 80%. Oh, okay, they're talking about the same thing over here, right? Let's see, N. There were N signers of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, I thought maybe we were dealing with this problem. So over here, N is 80% of Y. So we're saying that 80% is going to give me 0.8 when I move that decimal over twice, right? Um, Now it says there were N signers of the Declaration of Independence, right? And we don't know how many that is. And it says N is 80% of Y. They want to know how many signers were there total. And reading this, I realized that Y right here was Benjamin Franklin's age. So I have to find Benjamin Franklin's age and multiply 0.8 to it, right? Let's see, in order to go ahead and get my answer. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do this for you. 7 is 10% of Y. This is going to be, let's see, 7 is 10% of Y. What was Franklin's age? So 7 is, right? The Y is going to be of Y. I guess that would be Y. And 10%, 7 is, 7 will be over here, equal to 0.1, because when I move the decimal over, it's going to be 0.1. That means I'm dividing by 0.1. And 7 divided by 0.1, let's see what we get there. 7 divided by 0.1 is 70. So Franklin was 70. That means I'm multiplying this to 70. This is a benefit for those that were watching the video. You're not going to see this in the back of the book. I got to take 70 and multiply it to 0.8. So 70 times 0.8 is 56, which means there were 56 people that signed. All right, number 30 and 31, okay. On a survey, a group of students is asked their favorite sport. 18 students choose other sports. How many students have participated in the survey? Okay, let's see. Now remember it says, I think they're talking about, they could be talking about this one up here for football, other, and yeah, favorite sports right up here. All right, so they're saying how many students participated in the survey. Well, first of all, remember it says, whew, I want to make sure I'm not giving out another answer. How can you tell whether the percent of a number will be greater? No. So in a survey, a group of students is asked their favorite sport. 18 students choose other. So this is other. Now remember, everything operates off of a certain percent. We've got, this looks like 40%. And this looks like 37.5%. And then we've got other over here. So what is that going to leave me? Well, I know that if I add, and I want to make sure this is 40, so I'm just going to ask for your indulgence as I open this up and make sure it says 40. And it does look like 40%. So this means I'm going to take 40 and add it to 37.5. And when I add these together, I'm going to get 5 point, there's there, let's see, we got 7 and we got 7. So now we've got to take 100 and minus, remember everything operates off of 100%. We're minusing 77.5 from that to find out, okay, what percent was other. When we do this, we see that we're going to have, let's see, I have to put it 0.0 here, and then I have to borrow. So this is all going to become 99, because I'm borrowing each of these to make this a 10. And that's going to be 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7 is going to be 2. And 9 minus 7 is 2. That means it's 22.5% was others. So how many students participated in the survey? Remember, 18 students choose it other, right? So if I take 22.5, and that's percent. Remember, I have to move the decimal over 2 places. which is going to turn it to 0.225. Remember, they said 18 students choose other. That means out of the whole, we have 18. So I'm going to have to go ahead and divide this by 0.225 to find the whole, the total amount, which means I'm going to divide 18 by 0.225. All right, so when I take 18 and I multiply it to 0.225, I get 4. That can't be right. Oh, I'm dividing it. I'm sorry, I multiplied that. Let's try that again. 18, I'm going to divide it by 0.225. Sorry about that. That gives me 80. That means that 80 kids participated in the survey. So the whole equals 80. B says, how many chose football? Okay, so if I know the whole is 80, I could just take 80 and multiply it to the amount that chose football, which is 37.5. And I'm going to move that decimal place 2 spots, and 37.5, when I move that decimal place, will become 0.375. And I'll be multiplying that to 80 to give me the amount that is going to be in football. So let's go ahead and check that out. I'm going to take 80 and multiply it to 0.375. And that's going to be 30. So 30 people chose football. All right, let's move on down to number 33. It says at a restaurant, the amount of your bill before taxes and a tip is $18.53. A 6% sales tax is applied to your bill, and you want to leave at least a 20% tip, but have only $5 bills. You plan to use any charge or change that you receive as part of the tip. What is the minimum percent that you can tip? Explain your reasoning. I'm going to save a little time here and put these answers down. And let's go ahead and go over it. First, we're going to find the cost of the meal plus 6% tax. Cost of the meal, the restaurant, the amount of your bill before tax is $18.53. We're going to multiply this to 6%, which is the decimal moved back twice, 0.06. That's going to give me $1.11, and that is the amount your bill before taxes. Oh, that's the sales tax. So now you're going to take the $18.53 and add it to the sales tax, which comes up to $19.64. All right, now says you want to leave a 20% tip on top of that. So we also have to see, let's see here, a restaurant, the amount of your bill before taxes is the sales tax. A 6% sales tax is applied to your bill. You want to leave a 20% tip, but only have only $5 bills. So you do have more than one $5 bill. All right. And you plan to use any change as part of your tip. So we're going to have to take 5 times 4, that would be 20, right? And that would be, you would use $20 to go ahead and pay this off. So you got $20, you're going to minus the $19.64. That's going to give you 36 cents. Now, the least tip that you can change, the least tip is the change plus the change amount plus the $5 bill, right? A $5 bill, which would be $5 plus 0.36, which would be $5.36, right? We could use the percent equation and substitute the values. So we could have 5.36, right? That's the amount, because remember now it's saying what is the minimum percent? That was the minimum percent. And then explain your reason. You can, so it says I've got my $5.36. And now it says that that's going to be my $19.64 was the whole amount, and now I'm looking for the percent, okay, the minimum percent. Remember, this was not the percent, it was the minimum amount, right? So now I can divide 1964 away from the percent, which means I'll take $5.36 and divide it by 1964. That gives me 0.273%, and I have to move my decimal to 2 places. That's going to give me 27.3%. So the minimum tip you can leave is 27.3% of the bill. Wow. 34 was yours to do, which means I'm all done for the night. And good luck with the rest of your homework. I'll see you in